Hi, everybody. This is Clint Medeiros, case study for EDL 850, Module 12. Jump right into it. First of all, Section 1, the case summary. St. Regis is a K through 8 school located 25 miles from a large city. Has been raising money for the last 3 years to purchase computers and educational programs for those computers. The school's put a 20 computer lab in the school library with a sign-up sheet for teachers to bring classes in to use the lab. The educational programs were purchased to use in the library and to be shared amongst the students. Some of the teachers within the school came to the librarian and asked if it'd be possible to allow the programs to be installed on a single computers they have in their classrooms, which would allow students more time with the programs. The librarian and the PTA president, in an attempt to save money, began to make copies and distribute them to the teachers who wanted a copy. When a certain teacher, Miss Brandon, was approached with the discs, she was reluctant because she was aware of the copyright laws and the ramifications that were included. She then went and spoke to the principal and informed him what was going on within the staff. The next day, the principal, Mr. Sample, went to speak with the librarian, Miss Lynn, about copying the programs, and she told him that she and the PTA president were making copies to help students learn and to save money for the school. Miss Lynn also stated that nobody would find out, and since she had made the copies, many more teachers and students were able to access the programs. Mr. Sample then made her aware of what she was doing as a crime and cost the school district a large amount of money. He then asked her to stop making copies and to collect the copies she had already distributed. Section 2, ethical and legal issues. What ethical and legal issues has the school and staff created by making copies and distributing them illegally? First of all, the people harmed or the persons harmed, the software companies. The product has been distributed without permission or compensation for the product. By making copies and distributing them, Ms. Lynn broke copyright laws and has cost that company money. The school and the district could be harmed through litigation being brought against him because of Ms. Lynn distributing the copyrighted programs. The principal could have harm against him because he was unaware of the copies being made and distributed within the school. Did the making and distribution of copies contravene an existing law? The making and distributing of the program broke copyright laws. Those schools are given some amount of leeway for educational use laws. They directly broke copyright laws because of multiple copies being made and distributed to the teachers. Continuing Section 2, ethical and legal issues. Some of the ethical issues, Miss Lynn was unaware or did not care about copyright laws and was trying to save the district money by making copies and distributing them to the teachers. She did not want Mr. Sample to make it an issue, as she felt no one would find out. She violated many ethical issues in doing what she felt was the best to help student learning. Mr. Sample was informed about the issues and addressed it the next day. He informed Miss Lynn to stop making copies, collect the copies from the teachers. He had an ethical decision to make. Does he allow the issue to be swept under the rug, or does he self-report the school and accept the consequences of what has happened on his watch? Continuing Section 2, some more ethical issues. Miss Brandon was approached about receiving copies of the copyrighted programs. She reported the use to the school principal. She faced an ethical decision when deciding if she should report the programs being copied or allow it to continue, and she knew it was against the law. All involved in the case study have a reason for acting as they did. Miss Lynn was trying to improve student learning, was either unaware or did not care about the copyright laws. It falls on the principal to educate all staff on the laws and copyright and what is appropriate to use in schools. Continuing Section 2, the breach of contract. Miss Lynn's actions led to a breach of contract by making and distributing copyrighted work to teachers. Teachers who accept the materials are also in breach of contract for using the copy of the copyrighted programs, none of which was done with the copywriter's consent. Next, moving to Section 3, what is happening in one sentence. Without consent from publishers, a school librarian made copies and distributed the copyrighted work to staff members, which put the school, district, teachers, and students at risk of copyright law consequences. Moving on to Section 4, the facts. First of all, the people involved with the case study. Miss Lynn is the school librarian who made and distributed copies of the copyrighted work to teachers in the school. She felt that it wasn't a big deal and no one would find out because it was a small town. Mr. Sample, the school principal, has been at the school for 3 years. He is not from St. Regis, this town. Ms. Brandon, a new teacher to the school with 3 years experience, reported the distribution of copyrighted material. Ms. Evans, the PTA president, helped make the copies to distribute to the teachers. And students, there are 420 students in the K through 8 school, and there's 2 teachers per grade level within the school. Section 4 continued. The place in which this occurs includes the type of community, location, and the demographics. St. Regis is a small rural community 25 miles from a large city. It has 2 grocery stores and a few other small businesses that service the needs of the town. It's a K-8 school. 9 through 12 students are bused to a larger town for school. There's a 20 computer lab in the school library and media center. Continuing section 4, the facts. The program includes the type of schools, the curriculum, and the grade level. As I said before, it's a K through 8 public school with 420 students. The school media center and library has 20 computers for 420 students to share. Transitioning to section 5, review and prioritize the information. In order to make a quality decision, we must first review and prioritize the information and how it can affect ourselves, the stakeholders, the community, and the students. First of all, damage to stakeholders or the community. The district's school administration, teachers, and librarians could all face legal consequences for copyright infringement. With fines up to $150,000 per article, the district and school could face large fines, putting the district in financial trouble. The school could be forced to close and bus all students to larger cities, making it tough on parents and the community. Next is damage to individuals. First, the librarian who made and distributed the material to teachers could face litigation and fines. The teachers as well could face litigation for using the copyrighted material that was distributed. The principal, who is responsible for all that goes on in the building and is also responsible for training staff on copyright laws. Students who use the program for educational purposes, an extension of their learning, could lose the access to the learning material and lose funding for the school. Continuing section 5, contacting stakeholders. I would definitely contact more stakeholders such as the assistant principals, the superintendent, the school board before making any decisions. I would also like to speak with all the people who have an investment in the case, such as teachers who accepted the programs, the PTA president, Ms. Brandon, to make sure that all relevant information is collected. Prior to doing so, I do not feel as though I have been diligent enough in my research to make an educated decision. I would also like to possibly contact the program companies because they were not contacted prior to the copies being made. Continuing section 5, reviewing and prioritizing the information. Do I have enough information to make a decision? Based on prior knowledge and through a thorough investigation, I believe I can make a decision at this time. Copyright laws should not be taken lightly. It is my job to make sure that we make ethical decisions in a school. Based on copyright laws, it is pretty cut and dry that the librarian made a mistake without consulting myself or other stakeholders prior to making and distributing the copies. Moving to section 6, identify options and consequences. Option 1 is obviously take no action. Allow the teachers to continue to use the material and hope that nobody finds out. Consequences is that I'll lose all respect as a principal for not following the code of conduct and my own ethics that I hold at a high value. The school could be caught and fined, which the school would not have the money to pay. Option 2 is the most fierce of the options. Fire the librarian, any teachers who use the copyrighted work, collect all the copyrighted material, and destroy it. Consequences of that, I could face backlash from the other teachers for the harsh punishment, but to set a standard is what is and what is not acceptable. Could cause a rift within the community. Getting rid of quality teachers and the students again suffer. Continuing section 6, identifying options and consequences. Option 3, Ms. Lynn is placed on an action plan for improvement. I'd develop a district copyright policy for all teachers to follow. Destroy all copies that were made and distributed to teachers. Consequences, is the punishment for copyright infringement stringent enough? Will the community superintendent see the punishment as harsh enough? Option 4, place Ms. Lynn and the teachers who accepted the copies on an improvement plan for the remainder of the year. Develop a district copyright policy for all teachers and administrators. Implement professional development to educate the entire staff on copyright laws. Also destroy all material that was copied and distributed. What could the consequences be? Would the district administration and the school board members feel the punishment fits the crime? Moving into section 7, evaluate your options. First of all, option 1 is taking no actions. The pros, it's the easiest option. It requires no work. I don't think it's the best option, but it is the easiest. The cons could ruin the school and the principal's reputation. The school could face legal repercussions down the road. It is against personal moral code. Option 2, comprehensive approach. Eliminate teachers who broke the law. Show how serious copyright laws should be taken. It could face backlash from other teachers in the community. Eliminating good teachers who made a mistake. We're addressing the real issue, which is a lack of copyright policies. Option 3 is an intermediate option. It keeps adequate teachers. A copyright policy is developed, and copies of materials are destroyed. Teachers not reprimanded or punished harsh. Are the teachers reprimanded and punished harsh enough? Does not include professional development for teachers. Last option, option 4, keep adequate teachers. We copyright policy developed and implemented through professional development, and all copies of material are destroyed. The cons, is the punishment adequate for all teachers? Will the teachers develop better habits? Which option also shows teacher development? Moving to section 8, choose the best option. After much reflection and conversation with relevant stakeholders, I'd choose option 4, develop a district policy with the help of the superintendent and school board, become standard practice within the district. Begin the process of finding and getting professional development approved for teachers and administrators, also collecting all material that was distributed and dispose of it properly. I'd also meet personally with the teachers and librarian who will be placed on improvement plans to discuss copyright and fair use laws so that no further crimes are committed. Each step would include the school board and superintendent's approval. Moving on to section 9, implementation. I believe this is very important, that it needs to be done in the correct steps, in the correct order with stakeholder input. First of all, I'd meet with the superintendent. I'd begin by meeting with the superintendent and address the issues of copyright infringement that had taken place within the building. I'd ask for his approval to put my plan into place. I would make sure that he knew all the facts, all the information, and ask him for approval of my plan. Next, I'd meet with Ms. Lynn and the teachers individually. I'd meet with Ms. Lynn and the teachers involved and discuss fair use and copyright laws. I would also at this time ask for material that had been distributed for proper disposal. Last, I would discuss the improvement plan in which they are required to attend the district professional development and show that they are abiding by district policy. Continuing implementation. Next, I'd start development of a district policy regarding copyright. Include all relevant stakeholders in developing a district policy regarding copyright laws. The policy should include fair use, copyright laws, and copying procedures. Should also include consequences the district deems fair for teachers and students who break the rules. In order to develop quality policy, I may need to develop a committee to create the district policy with me. Last, find and get approval for district development for teachers and administration. I'd begin the search for professional development to discuss copyright laws with all district employees. If I had to, I would volunteer to speak to the staff about laws, requirements, and repercussions of copyright infringement. Continuing implementation. How would we continue to abide by the laws? Follow the implementation of the previous steps. Teachers will have a great understanding of the laws and how they pertain to them. They will also understand the consequences of breaking the laws and how it will affect themselves, the school, and the students. Following my lead, teachers will be consistently reminded about copyright infringement in the following ways: through signage posted throughout the school, reminders in staff meeting, and yearly professional development for new teachers or teachers who do not abide by the law. I'd also create a training for media professionals so that they can monitor appropriate internet usage on school computers and equipment. We may need to find funding to purchase more copies of the educational materials for students to use in the classrooms.